What is an aesthetic body? This question has occupied great minds for centuries. I think you've seen the drawing of the Vitruvian Man, the ideal of male proportions created by Leonardo da Vinci. But I won't repeat it here because these proportions are far from perfect. The idea of finding the ideal mathematical parameters of the body seems simple and ingenious, but this approach is fundamentally wrong, since it is based on the views of only one person who has become popular. The problem here is generalization. We will approach this case wisely, taking into account a lot of research and not the opinion of one person. So, in this video, I will reveal everything about what an aesthetic body is. A sharp montage with body shots appears. So what are the parameters that distinguish the appearance of a Greek god from an ordinary person? Here's the secret. The main thing is to pay attention not to the volume of muscles, not to the relief, not to growth, but to the overall proportions and harmony of the body. It has to do with our perception. In one study, girls were shown photos of two types of men, tall but disproportionate, and short but with harmonious proportions. The results showed that girls rated shorter but balanced men twice as attractive. Think about it. The dream of becoming taller is popular, but working on the aesthetics of the body will bring a more guaranteed result. Let's get started. Let's start with the waist-to-chest ratio. Studies show that the ideal ratio is 0.7. This means that if the waist is 70 centimeters, then the chest should be about 100 centimeters. This is important for two reasons. Firstly, it demonstrates confidence and dominance, as if the leader of the pack boldly took up space and showed his chest without hiding weaknesses. Secondly, a slim body is a sign of strength and health. I have considered the influence of these signs on perception in other videos. The second parameter is the head-to-height ratio, which creates a visual effect of height. With the same head size, a person with a height of 160 and a person with a height of 190 will be perceived differently. It is believed that the ideal ratio is 1:8, that is, the height is divided into 8 heads. But the more the better, and research confirms this. Often, not very tall people are perceived that way, and clothes can help improve proportions. The third parameter is the width of the neck. This indicator strongly affects the perception of the face and body as a whole. Numerous studies prove that a more powerful neck is associated with masculinity. Of course, it's silly to think that girls prefer feminine guys. On a subconscious level, they are attracted to confident, masculine men. The fourth parameter is the width of the shoulders relative to the hips. When they say that someone has broad shoulders, they actually mean their ratio to the hips. This is a key factor that visually distinguishes the male figure from the female one. In women, the hips are wider than the shoulders. In men, on the contrary. The wider the shoulders are relative to the hips, the more aesthetically pleasing it looks. The fifth parameter is the height and length of the legs. Research confirms that the longer the legs, the more attractive a person is perceived. Short people usually have shorter legs relative to the body, while tall and medium-sized people depend more on genetics. Look at the models. Everything is obvious here. The sixth parameter is the length of the foot and its ratio to height. For example, remember the hobbits from The Lord of the Rings. Their massive feet visually make them lower. In short people, the foot is often almost like that of tall people, which is why a long foot visually shortens the figure. Therefore, it is better to give up bulky sneakers. They only make you shorter. The seventh parameter is the width of the waist and hips. This point can be removed, but it is worth remembering. When it comes to body aesthetics, it is important that the hips are not wider than the waist. This does not mean that the legs should be thin, but they should harmoniously complement the figure. These 6 parameters are the key to an aesthetic physique worthy of the image of a Greek god.